How many have you forgiven today? Chapter 10, A Different Kind of Friend. Anon can't believe what he's doing right now. He walked into his room a few minutes ago and went to sleep on his bed. For the past minute or so, he's been standing outside of Nightmare's door. He can feel the conflict inside of him as he contemplates his life choices. There were some things that he didn't have control of, and those things are the reason why he's so iffy around ponies. Yet this is different. If something bad happens here, there's no one to blame because he can choose to not do this. He rests his hand against the door and calms himself enough to try and sense what's happening. It feels calm, oddly enough as if she's sleeping. How does that even work? Anon's never asked Luna about a dream within a dream before, but does it actually work differently for Nightmare? Is there perhaps another door around that contains her own dream? So what does that make what he experienced before? It could have been a memory? If that's the case, then that seems to spur him on to actually speaking with her. He can do this. After all, he does have a backup plan. Blossom is sitting at Anon's bedside as he sleeps. She honestly wasn't expecting him to call for her, but she was true to her word that she would come if he called. So, here she sits, unsure as to why she's needed. All he told her was that he was going to dreamwalk, and if he didn't wake up in 30 minutes, she should get Luna as fast as she could. Blossom knows very little about dreamwalking, but she could hear how serious he was when he spoke. So she sits and waits while facing the clock that hangs on the wall. This is going to be a long and boring wait. She feels her eyes drift over to Anon's sleeping form. He wouldn't mind if she got comfortable, right? A grin spreads on her face as she thrusts her wings down, lifts into the air, and gently glides down onto the bed beside him. She has to admit that she's mostly doing this to see his reaction, but it is rather nice to cuddle up next to something warm as well. She uses a wing to grab a blanket and drapes it over the two of them. She gives a small yawn as she snuggles close. This is a nice break from all the paperwork. Anon reaches for the handle of her door. With one last breath, he opens it and takes a step inside. His vision is filled with darkness. He's quick to summon a flashlight again, but what he notices is that the darkness is no longer as thick as it was before. His light is bright enough to cover a great distance, and what he spots a bit ahead of him is the sleeping form of Nightmare Moon. It's odd to see her sleeping kind of like a horse on its stomach. Anon gulps slightly as he makes his approach. Once he feels he's a safe distance from her, does he stop and stand there. Nightmare Moon's back is to him. He can see her slow and steady breaths as she rests. Seeing that his light is probably a bit too bright for the situation, he instead makes the area around him glow softly. Just enough light so he can clearly see Nightmare Moon, but not be blindingly bright. He walks around to the front of her. It's odd how peaceful she looks while she's sleeping.
I'm surprised that you came back,
she says, as clear as day. Anon jumps in shock as she opens her eyes and looks at him, the slits of her eyes seemingly contracting as they focus on him. Anon can't look away as he stares into her piercing blue orbs. He shakes his head some and faces her again. I wanted to talk to you. He can see her raise a brow at him. She lifts her head from her forelegs so she can properly face him. She feels a grin spread across her lips.
You wish to play some more?
Anon shivers at the thought of what she has in mind.
No, I just wanted to get to know you. Maybe we got off on the wrong foot?
Nightmare Moon starts to giggle, and her giggle then turns into full-blown laughter. Anon can only stand there and hope this doesn't turn into a dark memory he'll have to bury deep in his subconscious. She still titters some as she looks at Anon.
Oh, you are either the bravest or most stupid creature I've ever met.
Both, probably.
Anon admits. A grin spreads over her face.
What would you do to stop me if I decided to have my way with you?
Nothing. Before even coming here, I could guess that you have a better control over dreams than I do. The only thing I have is a guard watching over me, and I told her to get Luna if I didn't wake up in 30 minutes.
Oh, 30 minutes alone with me?
She slowly gets up, while also growing in size, so she's looming over Anon.
That's enough time to do many, many things.
He's taking a huge risk, but it's now or never.
That's true, but once Luna saves me from you, you'll never see me again.
It was so fast that Anon almost didn't see it, but he could have sworn that he saw worry on her face. The grin she had long since vanished. Her size returns to normal and she continues to face Anon.
What do you really want?
she asks with a sneer.
To talk, as I said.
Do you think I believe that for a second? You're up to something.
Everything is going his way right now. Anon opens his arms wide, feeling a bit more confidence in this situation.
Look around, Nightmare. I'm alone. Even you can sense that Luna's awake. It's just you and me right now.
He drops his arms to his side.
The first time we met, I thought Luna was having a nightmare. That's the reason I came here in the first place. I wanted to help her, and I was surprised when I found you.
What Anon is about to ask could end in tears.
Are you lonely?
He watches as Nightmare squints. She lowers her head so her horn is pointing directly at him. Anon backs up slowly as she starts poking it towards him.
Get out,
she threatens.
I just want to talk.
He watches as her horn starts to glow.
I'm not giving you a choice.
Anon is shoved back and didn't even realize that she summoned a door to her world. He falls back into the room of doors as Nightmare's door slams closed. Anon gets up and brushes himself off. Well, that could have been worse. Anon walks up to the door and places his hand on it. It seems that he's rustled her up a bit. He feels a triumphant smile on his face. Her resistance only makes his interest stronger. He walks away from her door in thought. He'll be sure to visit her again. Might as well take a page out of Celeste's book. With enough pestering, she'll come around, or she'll blast him into oblivion. He's confident it'll be the former. Well, it's time for him to wake up. Anon feels his eyes open. What he sees in front of him is a gray mare that's asleep. He's positive that he told Blossom to watch over him, but it seems that at some point she decided it was best to sleep. Not only that, but she thought the best place was next to him. Anon reaches his hand up and pinches Blossom's nose closed. It takes a few seconds before she jerks awake violently.
What?
She sits up and looks around in a daze. Thanks for watching me. Anon deadpans as he too sits up so he can face her. She smacks her lips some as she uses a hoof to rub her eyes.
That was fast. It wasn't even 10 minutes.
She states. How would you know? She rests her head on her pillow while keeping her eyes closed.
I have an accurate internal clock, Anon. I would have woken up a few minutes before the set time. I can assure you that.
Anon sits there for a few moments looking at her. There's no reason for him to call her out on that. The fact is that he knows next to nothing about Blossom, so how would he know if she's telling the truth? Then again, she is the captain of Luna's Knights, so it could be possible if she's trained to wake up at a moment's notice.
Well, thank you for helping me. Now, if you don't mind, I have some things I need to take care of.
I do mind.
She bites Anon's shirt and drags him back into a laying position.
If you stay here, then no one can blame me for sleeping. It's part of the job, after all.
She yawns.
If you leave, then I'll have to go back to all the boring paperwork in my office.
How is that my problem?
You know, I should report to Luna that you were up to something dangerous, but I won't. That's our little secret. Now, if you lay in bed with me and let me rest a little, then I'll consider us square.
Are you blackmailing me?
Blackmailing is such an ugly word. I prefer the word blackmailing.
You said the same word. Anon deadpans.
Well, yeah, but I said it nicer the second time.
She wraps a batwing over him.
Come on. Just give me 1 hour of sleep. I'm not asking you to bend over backwards, am I?
Anon lets out a sigh of defeat. Blossom isn't asking for much, but damn does he feel manipulated.
Alright.
Anon gets comfortable as Blossom snuggles up close. Just don't get any funny ideas. Blossom chuckles.
Keep dreaming. Everything is all set,
Pinky says with a large smile.
Are you sure this is alright?
Maud looks over herself in a body-length mirror. The dress she's wearing is really frilly. She's not used to wearing anything other than her normal dress.
I thought I was meeting your friend. Well, you want to look your best, don't you? Why can't I just wear my normal clothes? Oh, those old things. We're in Canterlot, Maud. Let's live a little. I don't know, Pinky. I just think that maybe you're going a little overboard. What if your friend isn't dressed for the occasion?
Pinky's eyes shoot open.
Oh, you're right! That's good. I think we can still return the dress. I need to tell Anon to wear a suit!
Before Maud can say anything, Pinky tosses down a smoke bomb. Maud doesn't even blink as the smoke clears and finds the room empty.
Who would have thought a cutie mark could change a pony so much? Right, Boulder?
Maud looks over to the dresser where Boulder is. She raises a brow at him.
You've met Pinky's friend before?
Boulder just sits there. It's a meaningful conversation.
I guess you'll have to apologize.
Maud goes back to looking at herself in the mirror.
If it's for the occasion.
I can't tell whether or not Blossom actually wants to get with Anon or something. She's probably staying away just because of Luna, and maybe Celestia, but hell if I know. Anyways, let's get on to our humble donators. Top donators are 630, J10 Man, Darkside, Only One Thing, and Ceru Orion. Rayden, Narwhals, Black Moonheart, Pastel Skies, Austin Roland, Stu Hex, Sword Brother and Morshid, Omnicron Library, Will, Chris, Twinkie, Hadzaza, Riot Soul, Iron Sky, Badass Waffle, Shadow Moon, Luigi88, and many more fantastic people. Thank you all so much for watching this video and live life to the fullest.